On May 4th, 1982, in the freezing waters of the South Atlantic, the most advanced warship in the British Royal Navy was about to become a burning tomb. HMS Sheffield, a Type 42 destroyer equipped with cutting-edge radar systems, surface-to-air missiles, and electronic warfare capabilities worth over $200 million, was scanning the horizon for threats. Her crew of 281 men believed they were protected by the most sophisticated defense technology the 1980 seconds could offer. They were wrong. A single French-made missile flying just 30 feet above the waves at nearly the speed of sound was racing toward them, and the billion-dollar warship never saw it coming. This is the story of how technological overconfidence, a critical radar flaw, and a moment of communication failure combined to create one of the most shocking naval disasters of the modern era. To understand how a state-of-the-art warship could be caught so completely off guard, we need to go back to April 2nd, 1982. The day Argentina invaded the Falkland Islands. The Falklands, a remote British territory in the South Atlantic, home to fewer than 2,000 people, suddenly became the flashpoint for a war that would test British military power 8,000 miles from home. Within days, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher assembled a naval task force to retake the islands. At its heart were the Royal Navy's most modern vessels, including HMS Sheffield, a Type 42 destroyer commissioned just 7 years earlier. Sheffield was a marvel of 1970 seconds naval engineering. She displaced 4,100 tons, stretched 410 feet long, and bristled with weaponry. Sea Dart surface-to-air missiles, 4.5-inch naval guns, and electronic countermeasures designed to jam or deceive enemy radar. But her real strength, or so everyone believed, was her radar suite. The Type 965 air search radar could theoretically detect aircraft at ranges exceeding 100 miles. The Type 995 control radar could track and engage multiple targets simultaneously, and the UAA-1 satellite communication system kept her connected to the fleet. Sheffield wasn't just a warship, she was a floating computer network designed to see threats before they could see her. On paper, she was nearly invulnerable. But war doesn't happen on paper. By early May 1982, the British task force had established a presence near the Falklands. HMS Sheffield was operating as part of the Air Defense Picket, essentially a radar outpost positioned between the main fleet and the Argentine mainland 200 miles to the west. Her mission was simple but critical: detect incoming Argentine aircraft and missiles and either shoot them down or warn the fleet. On the morning of May 4th, conditions were typical for the South Atlantic: cold, overcast, with moderate seas. Sheffield's crew had been at action stations on and off for days. Fatigue was setting in, but the ship's systems were functioning normally. At approximately 10 a.m., two Argentine Navy Super-Attended strike fighters took off from Rio Grande Air Base on Tierra del Fuego. Each aircraft carried a single AIM-39 Exocet anti-ship missile, a French-designed weapon that had never been used in combat before. The Exocet was purpose-built to kill warships. Weighing just 1,400 pounds, it could fly at Mach 0.9, nearly 700 miles per hour, at an altitude of just 10 to 30 feet above the water. This sea-skimming flight profile made it extremely difficult difficult for ship-based radars to detect, especially against the radar clutter created by ocean waves. The Argentine pilots, flying at low altitude to avoid British radar, approached to within 30 miles of the British fleet before climbing briefly to acquire targeting data with their Agave radar. They had just seconds to lock onto targets before British ships would detect their radar emissions. One pilot acquired a radar contact. Without knowing exactly which ship he was targeting, he launched his Exocet. The missile dropped away from the Super Étendard, ignited its solid rocket motor, and accelerated toward the horizon. Aboard HMS Sheffield, the crew was in a routine operational state. Some sailors were at their stations, others were grabbing quick meals. The ship's operations room, the nerve center where radar operators monitored screens for threats, was functioning normally. But here's where the fatal flaw reveals itself. Sheffield's satellite communication system, the UAA-1, operated on frequencies that interfered with the ship's radar warning receivers. These receivers were designed to detect when an enemy radar was scanning the ship, a critical early warning that an attack might be imminent. To use the satellite system, the radar warning receivers had to be temporarily disabled, and at that exact moment, Sheffield was transmitting a satellite message back to fleet headquarters. The ship was electronically blind. The Exocet missile, now traveling at over 600 miles per hour, just 10 feet above the waves, closed the distance in minutes. Modern radar systems struggle to detect sea-skimming missiles against ocean clutter. The low altitude, combined with the missile's small radar cross-section, made it nearly invisible until it was dangerously close. Sheffield's Type 965 radar, designed in the 1960 seconds, was optimized for detecting high-altitude aircraft, not sea-skimming missiles. When the Exocet finally appeared on radar screens, it was less than a mile away. At that range, the ship had approximately 6 seconds before impact, 6 seconds to identify the threat, 6 seconds to activate defensive systems, 6 seconds to brace for impact. A lookout spotted the missile visually, a small white dot just above the horizon, trailing smoke. He shouted a warning, but it was already too late. At 10:04 a.m., the AM-39 Exocet slammed into Sheffield's starboard side, approximately 10 feet above the waterline, near the forward engine room. Contrary to popular belief, the Exocet's 364-pound warhead did not detonate. Whether it failed to arm or was simply damaged on impact remains disputed, but it didn't matter. The kinetic energy of a 1,400-pound missile traveling at 700 miles per hour was devastating enough. The missile punched through Sheffield's thin aluminum superstructure like tissue paper, carrying with it unburned rocket fuel that ignited instantly. Within seconds, the forward section of the ship was engulfed in a toxic inferno. The fire spread with terrifying speed through passageways and compartments. Electrical systems failed. Lighting went dark. The ship's internal communication system went offline. Thick, black, choking smoke, a byproduct of burning aluminum, plastics, and synthetic materials, filled compartments and passageways, making navigation and firefighting nearly impossible. The crew fought desperately to control the blaze, but Sheffield had a critical design flaw that made her especially vulnerable. Her firefighting equipment was inadequate for a major fire, and her water mains were damaged by the impact, making it impossible to pump sufficient water to the fire. Sailors tried to fight the flames with handheld extinguishers and portable pumps. Some entered smoke-filled compartments repeatedly to search for trapped crewmates, risking their own lives in zero visibility and extreme heat. But the fire was already out of control. 20 minutes after impact, with flames spreading aft toward the ship's missile magazine, Captain Sam Salt made the agonizing decision to order abandon ship. In the freezing South Atlantic waters, sailors jumped from the burning destroyer into life rafts and were picked up by HMS Arrow and other vessels. 20 men died in the attack, most from smoke inhalation in the initial minutes after impact. Another 4 were seriously injured. HMS Sheffield remained afloat, still burning for 6 more days. Salvage teams attempted to tow her back to port, but on May 10th, heavy seas caused her to list severely and sink in 3,000 feet of water. She was the first Royal Navy warship sunk by enemy action since World War II. The loss of HMS Sheffield sent shock waves through the Royal Navy and navies around the world. How could a modern warship equipped with advanced radar and defensive systems be destroyed by a single missile? The post-action inquiry revealed multiple contributing factors, each one a lesson written in blood. Sheffield's inability to detect the Argentine radar lock because her satellite communications were active represented a catastrophic design oversight. Modern warships require multiple overlapping sensor systems with no single point of failure. After Sheffield, navies worldwide redesigned their electronic warfare suites to ensure radar warning receivers could function continuously, regardless of other systems in use. Designed in the 1960 seconds for high-altitude threats, the radar struggled to detect sea-skimming missiles against ocean clutter. This revealed that Cold War-era naval defenses were optimized for Soviet bomber attacks, not low-altitude missile strikes. Following the Falklands War, navies accelerated development of phased array radars specifically designed to track sea-skimming threats. Sheffield's extensive use of aluminium, chosen because it was lighter than steel, proved catastrophic when exposed to fire. Aluminium loses structural integrity at much lower temperatures than steel and produces toxic fumes when burning. Modern warships return to steel construction or use specially treated aluminium with better fire resistance. The ship's water mains were vulnerable to damage, and the crew lacked sufficient breathing apparatus to fight fires in smoke-filled compartments. After Sheffield, the Royal Navy completely overhauled damage control training and equipment standards. In the chaos following impact, internal communications broke down almost immediately, making coordinated firefighting impossible. Modern warships now have multiple redundant communication systems specifically for damage control, but perhaps the most important lesson was psychological. Sheffield's loss shattered the assumption that advanced technology alone could protect a warship. It reminded the world that war remains fundamentally unpredictable and that even billion-dollar weapon systems have vulnerabilities. The Argentine Air Force, meanwhile, had proven that a small, determined force with the right weapons could challenge even a superpower navy. The Exocet missile became legendary overnight, a symbol of how modern warfare had changed. Today, anti-ship missiles remain one of the most potent threats to naval vessels, spurring endless developments in defensive technology. Today, HMS Sheffield lies in darkness, 3,000 feet below the South Atlantic, a war grave protected by British law. Her sinking remains one of the most analyzed naval disasters of the 20th century, studied in military academies worldwide as a case study in technological hubris, system design failures, and the fog of war. But beyond the technical lessons, beyond the radar frequencies and missile specifications, Sheffield's story is ultimately about people. 20 men died that day, sailors who believed they were protected by the most advanced technology their nation could build. They died because of design decisions made years earlier in naval engineering offices, because of communication systems that interfered with each other, because a satellite message was being sent at the exact wrong moment. The survivors carried those memories for the rest of their lives. Many suffered from PTSD, haunted by the screams of trapped crewmates, the smell of burning metal, the sight of their ship, their home, consumed by fire. Captain Sam Salt, who made the agonizing decision to abandon ship, was initially criticized by some in the press, but historians now recognize that his decision saved lives. Had he waited longer, the fire might have reached the missile magazine, causing a catastrophic explosion that would have killed everyone aboard. The HMS Sheffield disaster teaches us that in modern warfare, there is no such thing as invulnerability. Every system has weaknesses, every technology has limits, and in the chaos of combat, even a single overlooked flaw can be fatal. Today's warships carry defensive systems Sheffield's designers could never have imagined. Close-in weapon systems, electronic warfare suites, decoy launchers, and advanced radars that can track dozens of sea-skimming missiles simultaneously. But they also carry the lessons learned from Sheffield: redundancy, damage control training, fire-resistant construction, and the understanding that technology is only as good as the humans who design, maintain, and operate it. In the end, HMS Sheffield's legacy isn't just about what went wrong. It's about how her loss forced navies worldwide to confront their vulnerabilities, redesign their systems, and ensure that the men and women who go to sea in warships have the best possible chance of coming home. 20 men didn't come home from the South Atlantic in 1982. They died doing their duty aboard a ship that was supposed to be state of the art. Their sacrifice brought lessons that have saved countless lives since, and their memory reminds us that behind every technological failure, every design flaw, every military disaster, there are human beings who paid the price.